what were some of the things that you were doing? I just want to make sure. Hello, Monty. I see you over there on YouTube, sir. Good to see you there as well, too. Let me see if we got anybody over here on LinkedIn. We got several people over here watching, so I appreciate you guys for being here as well. All right. We have a lot. I have a lot. I have a lot that I want to get through today. Um, this idea around make a move is extremely, extremely important. Before we get to that, I want to, oops, wrong, that's me. I want to make sure that you make sure that you don't miss this opportunity to join our community, join our learning community, and it's called the campus. And here's the thing: whenever I think about um, different opportunities for me when I've been able to kind of grow and learn, they were typically outside of my company. Those rich environments, those environments where I definitely wasn't the smartest person in the room, where we had instructors and resources and information and engagement that was, world class. And then what I found myself doing, just like a lot of other leaders, was to take that information and to bring it back into the marketplace. Take that information, bring it back into the marketplace. This is exactly what the campus is about. It's helping you as an individual leader, but it's also helping companies and for them to bring their teams in, and they can get resources that actually help bridge that gap from where they currently are to where it is that they want to be as a retail as a leader. But here's the thing: we know as a company, you don't have a lot of time. You really have the capacity for you to actually sometimes develop and grow your team isn't there, and we just know. Right, the statistics kind of prove it out, and so the campus is that place where you can bring your teams in and actually get the resources. We create a completely separate sort of learning environment for them, but they also have full access to everything else inside the campus. So make sure that you connect with us. Also, for individuals, we have our founding rate that's actually going to be stopping and be going up February 1st. So make sure that you go ahead and secure that time and secure your learning experience inside the campus. We have our office hours that are going to be starting up this weekend. And then we also have a learning lab, a generative AI for retail leaders. Get a better understanding of what AI really means for you and the application thereof. So making sure that if you're a member, those learning labs are 100% free for you as well, too. Looking forward to seeing all of you inside the campus. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. Let's say hi to some people. Like I said, hi to Monty. He's already in the place, in the building. See if there's anybody else I need to say hi to. Let me know how your weekend was. If you're out there in the comments as well too, I appreciate you as well. All right, so make a move up. Let's talk about this idea around make a move up. The concept around make a move for me has been around for a very, very long time. Last week I started the foundational thoughts around what make a move is, and and what it is. This right here. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. Last week we set the foundation for what the idea and concept of what make a move season is. Today we're going to be talking about how to make a move up. And then next week, we're going to be talking about how to make a move on and out. The reason why I'm putting those two together is just because there are some commonalities when you think about making a move on and out of an organization as well. We define make a move, of course, as a biannual experience, typically around performance review time. Also mid-year, getting really a lot of companies and stores prepped for Q4. Typically, the leader is at a crossroads in their career and their ideas and their journey of where they are to where it is that they want to be. And this make a move season, it comes up not out of the blue, but it comes up in probably the most critical times in their life when they have to make a decision. And we talk about it in the context of finding your best next. That could be your best next role, your best next leadership development, your best next opportunity, your best next talent, all these different things. And we help you define that throughout this process when it talks about making a move as well. I'm always doing that. I'm hitting the wrong button. Here we go. Why should you care? I'm not going to go into a lot of the statistics like I did last week. You can go ahead and look at that one from last week. The idea of why you should care, it is the most critical time in your journey as a retail leader. It is that moment in time where you have to think about your family, your finances, and your future. And you say, well, Steve, I think about those all the time. I hear what you're saying, but at this point in time in your career, it becomes even more so. It becomes even heightened where and the sensitivity around your best next can truly impact all three of these things: your family, your finances, and your future. The one thing that I want you to understand and really take away from everything that we're going to be talking about today is that everyone is thinking about making a move. Right? You give yourself the grace to let yourself know it is okay to think about making a move because everyone else is. Everyone else is. Companies are thinking about it. Your peers are thinking about it. Your boss is thinking about it. Everybody is thinking about making a move at this time, right? So it is okay for you to actually think about it and maybe even have some questions and some thoughts. And we are here to answer those for you today. So when we think about make a move up, I really want you to have a get an understanding of this, right? Typically, when we think about making a move up, we think about making a move up in your role, and that's understandably so. It is understandably so, right? Because you are at a crossroads. You're thinking about, okay, well, what do I do? Do I have the bandwidth to actually move forward into my next role? Um, how do I actually think about myself as a leader, where I currently am, where my skill sets, what do I have to offer? Here's the other thing about this make a move, and please understand this. This is up and down the retail continuum. Senior vice presidents start thinking about this. Everything that we talk about applies to senior vice presidents, or even on down to store managers. Everything that we talk about, right? All of you are in this the stage in your career where you are thinking about it. Now the level of thought process of what it is that you're trying to do, and also the impact that your career has, right, on the company is different, right? Understandably so. But when we think about making a move up, you have to define your best next, right? Your best next. When I think about your best next, what we think about, and we always think about it in the context of your role, right? We always think about your best next. I'm just gonna make sure I'm over here too. We always think about your best next in the context of your role. Good morning, Florence. How are you doing? We think about it in the context of your new role. Can I tell you that it's your best next or your make a move up isn't necessarily always about your next role up. It's not always about that. It's not always about that. It's about, you can make a move up in your leadership prowess, your acumen, your EQ, your approachability. And when you think about the idea of even making a move up to the next role, you have to make a move up in your leadership first before you can make a move up to the next role, right? Everybody wants to go to and look at the next role, but they haven't done the requisite work in working on themselves so that they can be prepared for the next role. Because I'm telling you, what got you there is not going to keep you there. And here's the other thing: the way that you are thinking now, possibly where you currently are, whether you're a DM and you want to go to regional, whether you're a regional, you want to go to senior vice president, you can't think the same way. You can't think the same way. The problems are completely different, and your ability and capacity to handle those things are completely different. Your level of communication and conversation are going to be completely different. So you have to make sure that you understand before you even make a move up in your role, you have to make a move up in your leadership. Okay, so I got 3 steps. This process is part of our what I'm talking about today is actually the foundation of everything that we talk about from a coaching standpoint in our make a move coaching process, but also in our make a move call that you can go ahead and sign up for, and you can get some more information about how to understand what your best next is. We actually take you through that process in a very I think it's 75-minute call with you as well. So make sure you go ahead and sign up for that too. But decode, devise, and deploy, right? these words, right? They sound very military. Well, they do because my background is it was in the military, and I firmly believe that when you think about things from a military standpoint, and not everything that I do is based off of that, but when you think about things from a military standpoint, um, it's very matter of fact and it's very like succinct. And so I really want you to kind of get everything that we're going to be talking about from decode, devise, and deploy standpoint. All right. So decode, you untangle at the core of anything that you have to do next before you move forward. You have to decode. You have to untangle some things. Decode. I know there's a lot of words here, so I'm not going to read them all. But I wanted to put this on here because whoever's going to be looking at this on the replay, you need to understand decoding is a process of converting encrypted. I love this part. I specifically chose it, encrypted information back into its original form or understandable format. So the reason I like that I like that word encrypted is because we have things inside of us that we have locked away. We have things inside of who we are as a leader that we have actually put into the backdrop of our lives, of who we are as a leader, right? We have put a whole bunch of things. We have actually not truly been able to show who we are because we have actually, created these veneers and these facades of who we are. And so before we even move forward, we have to be able to kind of move all of those things away, right? We have to decode really, truly who we are. We truly do. We have had so many labels that have been placed on us throughout our entire career, right? Leaders need to learn to interpret the previous labels, the behaviors, and situations to gain some clarity, right? This is the first part. So let's talk about some of the things that you need to think about when you think about from a decoding standpoint, right? What problem are you solving for? Whether it's your family, your finances, and your future. And then the other part is like what are you missing? What are you missing? Because before you even get to the next level, you have to really have a better understanding of what are some of the things that you are missing so you can move forward as well too. All right. Let me make sure we're good to go over here on LinkedIn. And I don't even see anything going on. All right, cool. I know we got some people in the audience as well too. So I appreciate you. Make some comments in there. Let me refresh this. I want to make sure if people are leaving any comments in there, I want to make sure I get it too. All right, good though. So let's talk a little bit more about this too. Let's talk a little bit more about some of this steps. So here within the decoding process, the first thing, there are 4 things you got to do. There are 4 things you got to do. You got to get some help. You're too close to it. You're too close to it. You are too close to yourself, right? Whenever you think about trying to make a distinctive change in who you are, the first step is that we start to gather information. We start to listen to a lot of leaders and information, and could be even pastors and things like that actually resonate with us, right? And we take that information because it sounds like us, and it sounds like something that we really sort of need, understandably so, and I get that as well. However, when you are trying to decode something, when you are trying to untangle something, right? You need help with that. You need help with that, crystallizing your ideas, moving some of the things away, having a very objective opinion, right? The idea around coaching, the idea around anything that I do with Worthy Retail is around helping you look at those stale problems that you have and putting a fresh perspective on them. Why are they stale? Because you've been too close to them. You haven't done anything with them, right? You haven't done anything to move them forward. So you need help. The collect standpoint, this part right here is the understanding of all of the information that has been given to you throughout your entire career. Part of this process that we do from a broader coaching standpoint is we collect all of your last performance reviews, not just the scores, but the comments, right? What were the comments that someone said about you, right? I know you've probably moved on from that company, but you could probably have a better idea. You probably have an idea of what people have said about you, right? You collect all that information. collect all your roles that you previously had, successes, obstacles, challenges, all these different things. And we collect all of that information. Do it very quickly. And then we just identify what's true. Yeah, I gotta identify what's true. Within all of that information, there are certain things that are true. This requires you to be responsible for those areas of your life where you have failed. To be responsible for those areas in your life where you have fallen short, because we are very quick to gravitate to some of the great things, but when we collect and identify what's true, some of the things we actually have to think about is that, you know what, I got that role and I got fired from that role because I wasn't ready. Instead of like the company, it was the company's fault. Just giving you an example, I had a client who actually had some issues like that, right? And then craft a leadership signature. And what is that? That is really taking what's true, taking the idea of who you are and some of the things that you want to do, and then identifying like what it is that you're known for, right? Within all of that information that we gather, we are able to pull out, right? What are you known for? What are some of the words that keep popping up, right? What are some of the things that keep showing themselves within the comments that you receive from your performance review? What are some of the things that your team continuously talks about as it relates to who you are, right? So we take that information and we actually are able to craft this. I'm gonna tell you right now, when you start to think about going to the next level, and you start to see people leapfrogging you, a lot of them, sometimes not all of them, a lot of them have a really good understanding of who they are. Some of them don't, but a lot of them actually do. So let's go ahead and move on to this next one. So the idea around the decoding, the proper, and this is the part that I really want you to understand too. Proper decoding accelerates these next two steps, right? Before we move to when I moved down here to Atlanta again, I was moving from Maryland down here, right? I lived here previously, so I kind of knew how to get down here, but I used, I drove stuff down here and I ended up using this app called Waze, right? How many of you use Waze? Like, let me know in the comments how many of you use Waze. And what I realized was that, I knew how to get here, but guess what? I needed some guidance, right? Waze helped me accelerate the journey, right? By putting in the destination. And then as I was moving in traffic, it helped guide me. It helped move me through obstacles, right? Kind of throughout my journey, right? I was able to avoid the police who were 2 miles down the road. I was able to avoid construction that was coming up. It told me to get off here, and I had to take a side road to get there, right? The idea of understanding where it is that you want to go, right? Where you are first will help you move forward, right? The decoding process is very much like Waze. It helps you kind of move through some of the clutter. It helps you identify some of the obstacles that you have faced or previously faced, or that you may even face when you move to the next level. So that's why the decoding process is the most important part, because it accelerates everything else. All right, let me know in the comments if this is making sense to you. I want to make sure we are good to go over here on LinkedIn. I don't know, for some reason I know people are saying stuff, but I can't see it. For some reason, maybe it's just me. Maybe it is just me. I think it's just me. Okay, maybe it's just me. There we go. It's just me. Oh, there we go. There we go. I see a couple people in the comments there. Hey, Gail. I'm sorry, my comments weren't coming up for a second. I see you there, Gail. Hey, Robert. Hey, Cher. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. All right. So it accelerates these next two steps in the process, right? Because the idea is that, what do you want to do? You sort of answer that question, right? As you kind of go through this decoding process, you answer that question of, what do you want to do? What do you want to do next? Based off of where you currently are. All right. So if this is making sense to you, make sure that you go ahead and connect with me and sign up for, for a clarity call, our Make a Move clarity call. Would love to sit down with you, help you move to your best next. So we have our, little QR code that you'll see here and kind of throughout as we move forward. Make sure you're going to scan that so we can connect with you very soon as well. All right. So the next step is to devise, is to transform. Right. When we think about this, the idea of like transforming, you changing what we just talked about, right? We're changing all those insights into action, right? We're structuring your competencies, right? Because clarity requires objectivity, right? We just sort of spoke about that untangling aspect of of your journey, right? How do you untangle, all of these different things of your journey, of who you are, what it is that people have said about you, the things that you aspirationally thought about yourself, the roles that you thought that you can get that you weren't able to do, right? We have to take all of these things and make sure that we are structuring your competencies in a very concrete way, so that it's very clear. Very clear. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I appreciated the feedback, and we were just talking about a couple of different things. He said, Steve, you're able to take a lot of these complex ideas and make them very simple. And I really appreciated the fact that he said that, because I do take a lot of pride in that. I do take a lot of pride in taking complex thoughts and complex ideas, and people are complex. I don't think there's anything more complex than an individual, than a person. And being able to take, the complexities of who you are, and maybe not oversimplify, but simplify it down to the competencies and the strengths of who you are, so that you can move forward, right? And that you can get clarity for the next step, right? So when we have to devise a plan, when we have to devise our next step, there are a couple of things that I want to make sure. I think I got like 12 minutes left. I got a little timer going on here. Um, Lots of stuff that I want to, a couple of things here is that you have to communicate, you have to have an opinion, and then you have to have presence. When you are devising a plan, when you are thinking about what's next for you, it has to involve communication. So here's the thing: we took everything, we untangled who you are, right? We were able to kind of crystallize some competencies and some thought processes of who you are and what it is that you want to kind of purport to the world, right? Now you actually have to think about, how do we take all of that information and put it into a plan? Part of that is the communication, the having a valued opinion, and then the presence that you need to actually have. So devising. So when we start talking about it from a communication standpoint, let's talk about your business and leadership acumen. There's two different. Those are two separate things. Those are two separate things. Understand that they are two separate things. Right? People always want to put them together. No. They are not. Right? Right? You can influence a lot of people and move them forward, and have zero understanding of what your business is doing. Right? You can have a very acute understanding of your business and what your business is doing, right? And have the analytical, thought processes, and and all this stuff, but you don't have the leadership ability to take all of that data and move people along the journey. So there are two separate things. So please get this. What problem does your leadership solve? So when we start talking about communicating, you have to communicate to whether it's in an interview process, it's in a market visit, you're going somewhere else, you're in public, and you come across somebody, you're in Starbucks and you have a conversation with somebody. They could be a recruiter. You just never know who they are. And your ability to communicate who you are and the problem that you solve is so very important, right? It's not about what you know. It's about what you're known for, those key competencies. So we start thinking about the communication piece. We have to differentiate between your business acumen and your leadership acumen, and how do we bring those two together so people get a full picture of who you are, right? We have to make sure that we differentiate between business and leadership acumen. I keep saying that because a lot of people don't understand that, and they want to lump the two together. I have bypassed hiring people because because they don't have the leadership. Man, they are super. Have you ever somebody? Okay, here's the thing. I'll give you a very practical example. Have you ever had a friend that's super duper book smart, but they lack common sense? Right? How many? Raise your hand. Right? Raise your hand. You've had. I'll just put a very practical example. They're so book smart. They can talk about books. They can talk about this. Man, but common sense, just that thing missed them. Right? Or it's vice versa. Man, their common sense, they have all the common sense in the world, street smarts or whatever it is. But when it comes to that business thing, they are missing it. They are missing it. We all have friends like that. We all have friends like that. So this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the differentiation between business and leadership acumen. I had something here too, and this kind of illustrates the point. Is that so? We just talked a little bit about in the campus. We have a learning lab, and it's generative AI for retail leaders, and why should you care about that, right? Because you can look at any um, newspaper, anything around business, and especially in retail, you hear about AI all the time, right? But what does that mean for you? Right. So when we start talking about this concept and idea perspective of business acumen versus leadership acumen, understanding what AI really is, and then having the ability to have a conversation about it with your team or with your boss are two separate things. Right. Having an understanding of something, but then being able to articulate what it is and it's important to you and importance to you and your team are two completely different things. So you have to make sure that we understand this, right? The last one is to when we start talking about that last one, devise an opinion. You have to have an opinion of yourself, your team, and your business. You have to be able to actually understand that. If you don't have an opinion on yourself, on your team, and on your business, and I mean your unit, and I mean the overall business. Okay, I mean the overall business. Your competition, what are they doing? What are some of the new products that are actually taking place? How is the competition potentially using AI, right? When we move up to a team, and we start talking about having a valued opinion on your team, I'm talking about a thorough analysis, and that you can quickly summarize, about who they are. One of the things I loved doing was that I always had a succession plan on my phone. And I routinely, whether it was I was at a store or whatever, I would always kind of just look at the succession plan before I moved into the store. Um, and then even before I'm like when my boss or whatever, I had the bigger succession plan. And I had an opinion on everybody and a perspective on who they are, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, what's next, what's not next, all these different things. You have to have the same thing. The opinion of yourself is who are you, what are you known for, and what problem do you uniquely solve? When we start talking about a presence, right? Here's the one thing that I want you to understand with presence too. And we start talking about presence. AI generated resumes and profiles only go so far. They only go so far. I like being honest with you. I just like being honest with you because I think that's important for you to understand that, right? In this world of AI generated everything, it's important that you understand. Let me make sure we're good to go here. Um, it's important that you understand that AI profiles and um, resumes only go so far. When you get and sit in front of somebody, you actually have to have the ability to be able to have and communicate. We just talked about that, right? You actually have to be able to have an understanding of what your opinion is, right? You can't get that. You can't get that from to the for the most part from a resume or for a profile. If you are an experienced interviewer, you're gonna go past that resume and you're gonna go deeper, right? So you have to make sure that your presence offline and online from a digital there's alignment between that. And what I don't mean just by your profile picture. I mean by what you say and what you do, right? What are you putting out there on LinkedIn, right? And then when they actually see or talk to you, does it mirror each other, right? It's super important that we understand that. We walk you through all of this stuff through our Make a Move process. Action beats intention all day long. The last thing, and I got time. I'm making good time. The last thing I wanted to make sure is to deploy. Like this, I saw this. I created, not created this. I saw this video, and man, bungee jumping scares the heck out of me. It scares the heck out of me. Every time I see like a video of somebody bungee jumping, I kind of like, I cringe a little bit. But you know what? They did it. You'll see the videos when people are hesitating. They're like, oh, but they actually end up jumping, right? So what are you going to do? Are you going to jump, or are you just going to stay here, right? This last piece that we're going to talk about, and we'll move through this one, is deploy. So deploy. Now what? Who, what, when, and where? Who, what, when, and where? When you have to deploy a plan that you have devised, there is a I was going to say strategery. We all know our former president kind of coined that term. There is a lot of strategery that takes place. There's a lot of strategy that takes place. There are tactical ideas and thoughts that you actually need to make sure that you are having as well too. Thank you, Gail. Gail says, I love the idea of the leadership signature. I don't know why the comments are coming up so late on here, but I appreciate the feedback, and thank you for that as well. I'll make sure I go back through and address any other comments that are out there too. When you have to deploy an idea, when you have to deploy something personal of who you are, there is a strategy that needs to take place, and that is the who, what, when, and where. So the who's like you got to get people's attention. You got to get somebody's attention, right? Anytime that you are, can I just say this? I often laugh at people when, that the humble brag of like, well, if I get the role, I get the role. That if I get, listen to me, man, stop that. Please stop that, because if you are equipped to actually, get the role, then there needs to be some intentionality on how you carry and present yourself, right? And the attention that you are trying to garner from other people, right? And when I mean by attention, it's not just a look at me type of deal. You have to build relationships. There has to be collaboration. And I love this quote. I just do. You compete at the bottom. You collaborate at the top. I try to figure out, maybe someone else could tell me who wrote that, but I try to find out who wrote that one. But I heard it like, years ago, and then a few months someone else said it, and it just stuck with me again, right? Because I think it was Rob Alasalis. Rob's a content creator guy, a friend of mine, lives in Vancouver. I think it was Rob was the one that said it, a few months ago, and I heard it again, right? When you are trying to move to the next level, there has to be this perception and perspective of collaboration that you actually have to have. Your ability to connect, because when you move up to the next level, it is not, once again, it's not about all what you know, it's about what you're known for. Are you known to be a collaborator with HQ? Are you known to be a collaborator with your peers? Are you known to be a collaborator with your field leadership? Are you known to be a collaborator even with your competition, right? All these things matter. All these things matter. And your ability to be able to do that with ease and confidence is so important, right? And those questions and those thought processes and perspectives will come up. And then do you have a mentor or a sponsor? That's a whole nother topic that I'm not going to cover here, but we have to make sure that we are giving our sponsors, fodder, right? Information about us, examples about us, our business and our leadership acumen, so that when they're in these rooms that we're not in, they have the ability to speak about us and for us. If you're not giving them anything, this is why you got to getting the attention. All right. Whew, I want to go deeper, but I'm not, because I'm running out of time. Time that I have self-imposed. So deploy, the what? Showcase your values, assignments, pilots, leverage HQ's visits, document your journey online and offline. So I'm going to take one of these, and because this one is a very underestimated thing that you can do, right? So I leverage HQ visits. And I give this one to my clients all the time. So I'm giving you this one for free. Giving you this one for free. I might send you an invoice if you use it. So when you're about to go to HQ, and it's a group of you, so it's a group of your team, um, and you're about to go to HQ, you need to be the point person. You need to be the point person. You need to be the person that is, you know, creating like the dinner, like where are we going to go for dinner, right? You need to be the point person who is, I did this several times. Whenever we went up to HQ, I would book a small conference room for my team, and I would have different HQ people, merchants, whatever our pressing issue was as a market. I would have those people come in to to our conference room and talk a little bit about how can we solve that problem, right? It was almost kind of a speed dating type of situation. And they would just come in 15, 20 minutes a pop, boom, 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 boom. Like we spent like 2 or 3 hours there. And then next thing you know, we had information and we were loaded for bear. If you are that, if you need to be that person that actually does that. You need to be the person that actually kind of orchestrates all of that. Gave you that one for free. That one gets attention. That one, that one puts you head and shoulders above your peers. Right? When you are having a conversation with the CEO, it's like, yeah, one of the things I often do is I make sure that my team is connected with HQ because we have this sort of speed dating. The reason I'm able to say this is because I actually use this information when I was going through the interview process, and they just loved it, and I've been using it ever since now with my with my coaching clients and helping them kind of walk through that process and what that looks like for their specific issues. So okay, when and where I put these together because it's important. Timing is everything. And you have to set your intentions, right? I talked a little bit about the offsites in between stores and like plane rides home, right? Timing is everything. When you are thinking about trying to go to the next level, you are often picked or thought about sometimes when you're not ready, and the timing aspect of where it is that you want to go to the next level, you have to you have to make sure that you are ready to go to the next level because those moments may come and they may go and you may not be ready. The goal is for you to always be ready so that you never have to get ready. And then that way, when those opportunities present themselves, you are able to step right into them. Set your intentions. Whenever you are talking to your boss about the next role, never do it I never do it in a store. I never do it in like an office, within the store. I don't like those. I just don't like that. I want to take you out for a cup of coffee. Hey, before we go to stores today, you mind if we grab a cup of coffee, right? Or the FBO, right? So a lot of times from a corporate jet standpoint, the corporate jet will fly in, and if you are the one leading the visit, sometimes you need to make sure that you can have a conversation probably with your boss, or your boss's boss or something like that, prior to actually you move forward. Or the most important time, I think, and I'm going to do an article about this and probably a learning lab about this too. It's how to leverage the in-between store visits. When you leave a store and you get into that car and you move and you're traveling to another store, I'm telling you right now, that is the most critical time for you to leverage who you are and what it is that you want to do, because your ability to communicate from store to store, having an opinion on who you are, your team, and the market, telling you right now. Oh my gosh, I get so excited about this stuff. I get so excited. Hopefully you feel this energy. You feel this energy. This is the energy that you're going to get when you come into the campus, right? This is the energy that you're going to get to help you solve your problems when you book a coaching session with me as well. The last thing around deploy is that there just has to be consistency, right? Reevaluate, rinse, and repeat. That's it. I I wish I could say that if you do all of these things, that they're going to happen. Here's why it's not going to happen. It's human beings. The human being is the variable that changes all the time, right? And your ability to communicate, it may change all the time. So making sure that you have the ability to be consistent, reevaluate, go back and look at your online presence, go back and look at your offline presence, maybe go back and look at your communication style, all these different things. You have to be able to reevaluate, rinse, and repeat as well too. Um, and Florence says, at that level, leaders are getting to know you, right? The person exactly. Uh, they have an opinion and point of view 100% on your skills. 100%. This is Florence. I'm just reading her comment over on over on YouTube. 100% agree with you, Florence. Make sure you go ahead and connect with us and get that clarity call from a make a move standpoint. We're looking forward to talking to you. So we just talked about make a move up. Next week, we are going to be addressing how do you make a move on or out of the organization. On or out of the organization. Extremely important for you to think about it in this context too, because when we think about making a move on or out of the organization, once again, a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about are very similar, and some of the things that you think about, whether it's moving on to a lateral position, or you're even thinking about moving out of moving out of retail altogether, right? And I know as a retail executive leadership coach, right? I'm like, oh, I would want people to stay. Here's the thing, I get it. I get it. Retail's a grind, and a lot of times you may not want to. You may be thinking about other things, and you're wondering if I have the skills that are transferable, right? If you're able to do that, make sure that you're actually make sure you stay tuned, for next week, because we will help you kind of understand how to transfer your skills that you currently have, whether it's onto a lateral role or it's even out of the organization. Sometimes it's just not a really good fit for you as well too. What's going on, George? How are you doing, man? Good to see you out there. Hey, Jamie, Patrick, good to see you. I love the maps of parallel. Thank you, sir. I appreciate all of you being here as well too. So that was make a move. Let's make sure we're good to go. So I hope all of this information, everything that I spoke about today, resonates with you. I really want to uh, make sure that you understand that making a move up doesn't always mean that you're making a move to the next role. Making a move up really means that the first stage is making a move up in your leadership and your business acumen and who you are and what it is that you want to stand for. When you go to the next level, right, people have already researched you. They've already looked at all of your KPIs, right? They've looked at the talent that you have developed, right? They're visiting markets possibly where your talent, the talent that you developed, that they're residing. They want to know how they're doing, right? They're looking at all of those variables. So you have to be able to create a very clear picture of who you are. And you do that by decoding who you are, getting clarity, getting untangled, right? Devising a plan and a strategy, how to take all of these insights and turning them into action, and then to deploy. Let's move everything into action and talk about the who, what, when, and where of who you are and where it is that you want to go. The goal is to always move you to your best next, whatever that could be. So thank you so much for being here. Joining me, Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. Win your week, Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all of you. Make sure you go and check out the campus for yourself or for your team. We have links in the comments for all of that as well. If you want to, leave me a message and have me some feedback, or if there's a topic that you want to see me cover in the very near future, please let me know. We also have, I keep talking about this, but we have a performance review a series that we're going to be doing. I have a really good friend, over in Sweden, who's actually going to be kicking it off. I'm going to be interviewing him coming up here very soon, and you'll see more about that as well too. So once again, thank you. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week, and God